Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here again with Ross Benjamin, SBR contributor, and today we're going to be looking at that NFL preseason match between the Carolina Panthers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, how you doing, Ross?
Everything's well this morning, Dax. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome. We got football right around the corner, so it can't get any better. All right, Ross, so before we get into this game, I think it would be wise for you to explain, to everybody here, the difficulties that you have to go through to handicap a preseason game properly.
Well, it's not just a preseason game properly, it's the last preseason game properly.
Right.
The problem is in these final preseason games across the board, and there's always exceptions to the rule, Dax, is that these head coaches, more times than not, will rest their starters for the final preseason game with the thought process of getting to the starting gate, which is the NFL regular season, 100% healthy.
Right.
So having said that, there's not a heck of a lot to go on. The only thing I could advise people who look into wagering on these types of games is to examine each team's quality depth. And even then, the odds makers are looking at the same darn thing and are going to incorporate that in the line as well. So my advice is, if you're going to bet on the final preseason game for any team, to tread very lightly, Dax.
No doubt, Ross. Now, I kind of think it's safe to say that the Steelers aren't the team that we're accustomed to seeing, in the past. The defense, they're starting to build up with some new blood. And while on the offensive side, Big Ben can still sling the pigskin. But that's pretty much about it, right? I mean, in your opinion, why do you think that this team has had such a tough time finding some wins in these past couple of preseason campaigns?
Well, I think that you touched upon a couple things that make a lot of sense. The quality depth that the Steelers used to have in the past has declined rapidly over the last 2 years. Their first-line players, when healthy, they're still a quality football team, and I think they'll be vastly improved from the 8-8 team we saw a season ago. You look at their preseason record the last 2 years, they're 1-6 straight up in their last 7 games, and they're 1-7 ATS in their last 8 preseason games. And I think that's a reflection more than anything on their lack of quality depth, meaning when the second line players get in there, they're not performing to the standards we saw in Steelers teams in the past.
Yeah, no doubt. Mike Tomlin must be on the hot seat for this one, I think. But anyway, how about Carolina? They just got torn apart by the Pats in Week 3 of the preseason match. But even though they were, Ron Rivera was on the hot seat not long ago, he's pretty much impressed a lot of us, And if I'm not mistaken, there's somewhat of a recent success under him following a preseason loss. Isn't that correct, Ross?
You're right on both accounts. Ron Rivera bounced back nicely with the Panthers last year after getting off to a 1-3 start. This team finished 12-4. They were eliminated in their first playoff game, but altogether, the whole body of work was very impressive. Rivera has gone 7-8 straight up and 8-7 ATS in his lifetime in preseason games with the Carolina Panthers as the head man since 2011. Under the guidance of Rivera, the Panthers have gone 3-0 straight up in ATS in their last 3 preseason games following a loss. They lost to New England, as you pointed out to the viewers last week, and this week they look like they're in a pretty good position against a Pittsburgh team that struggled during the preseason. And I must say, after all 3 of those losses, they not only went 3-0 straight up in ATS, all 3 of those games also went over, Dax.
Right. Now, I think that we might want to be weary about this game considering that Blunt and LaBelle will be starting as starters for the running back core in the Steelers. Taking that into account, what do you think about a bet here? Should we lean towards a spread bet or maybe a total game bet on this game?
Well, Mike Tomlin, to clarify, Mike Tomlin has elected not to suspend both running backs and wait for the league ruling on what unfortunately occurred last week.
Yeah.
And Tomlin has also made it clear that he's not going to play any of his starters this week. So
right.
Unless I get surprised by any further news on that, I got to go with my gut on this, considering the Steelers' preseason futility over the past 2 seasons, Carolina's ability to bounce back off a preseason loss. I'm going to have the smallest of leans, and I want to emphasize that, smallest of leans on Carolina plus the 5 over Pittsburgh in this spot.
All right, Ross. Once again, thank you very much for your valuable insights. And football's here, so can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow.
I look forward to it, Dax. You have a great day.
You too, and everybody that's watching us as well. And for sportsbookreview.com, this is Dax Floyd.